Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. Many of you probably noticed by the calendar we're coming up on Halloween. And for me, I've always enjoyed Halloween. When I was a kid, I lived in Emerson, New Jersey. And back then, everybody had. I'm 62, so you're talking the early 60s. Back then, everybody had a whole bunch of kids, and there was a lot of trick-or-treating and a lot of pranks and a lot of fun. So it became one of my favorite holidays. I was able to go out, and I used to go out on a bicycle back then and cover these big neighborhoods. Then we discovered apartment buildings, how you could one door and you can ring all the bells and then, run up and down the stairs and collect multiple treats very quickly. Didn't take us too long to put together a grapevine to figure out who was handing out full Hershey bars back then and so forth. But what I wanted to share with you guys was a prank that went very wrong for Halloween. And it kind of involves this mask almost exactly. I used to work at IBM. I retired several years ago now. And when I joined IBM was going from like a $50 billion a year revenue company, and they wanted to become a $100 billion a year company. And back then, what they would do is they would say, okay, we have 50 employees. Now we need 100 employees. They just figured to double the revenue, you needed twice as much employees, and that also allowed them to move up to 125 or 150 billion-dollar a year company. So when I joined, there were young people all over the place. And quite honestly, IBM used to put up with a lot of our bull, right? I wouldn't try half the antics nowadays. I wouldn't try any of the antics nowadays with the company that we used to try back then. We used to have a hayseed that, he was really young when he was started. I think he was only 19 when he started with IBM. He went to one of the local community colleges upstate. He was a technician. He took basically coveralls and a flannel shirt and all that, and he put together, he called it a scarecrow. He used bubble wrap for the filling, and this scarecrow bubble wrap full-size person, much like Leaf here, would show up all over the place. He'd show up in your office, right? He'd kind of be roped up to a chair, and we'd leave him all over. So you'd walk into your office, turn on the lights, and this would be looking back at you. Sometimes he'd be standing or sitting or whatever. We worked with a young lady, Lisa. She was in the machine shop, a machinist trainee. I actually went to high school with Lisa all those years and years before. Anyway, so we set this up in Lisa's office. Lisa's office was particularly dark, and we would put the scarecrow in and take the scarecrow out. And so after a while, she got used to the scarecrow being around. One day, we talked Victor into taking the scarecrow's coveralls and flannel shirt and mask and, stuffing the flannel shirt with bubble wrap. And we put that in Lisa's office, right? Figuring we'd scare the heck out of Lisa and, Victor would catch himself some trouble and it would just be a good time all around. Back then I had a young manager, George, who actually found out about it and, thought it was something he shouldn't know about, but he arranged to be walking by as the whole thing went down. So I was kind of the person talking to Lisa and distracting her. And Victor would make these little movements, and Lisa would look over and go, "Did you see that move?" And I would, "Lisa, what are you going crazy?" And then, Victor would move a little more, rustle or something. And "You sure you didn't see that move?" And, I would go, "No, what are you, crazy?" So finally, Victor stands up and takes a step toward her. So, I mean, obviously hilarious to see the look on her face. This was pre-videos, or there would be a video up on YouTube. Anyway, she whirls about and she takes her knee and she planted his football up by his tonsils. I mean, bam. So he goes down, you know, like a ton of horse manure. He's just down and out. So she goes to stomp him at that point. So I reach over and, kind of try to pull her away because the outcome of this was not death and destruction. We just wanted to have a laugh. So as I'm trying to ease her away, she comes up with the realization that I probably had something to do with this. So now she's going for me. I'm trying to get out of her office, right? Office back then was about 14 feet deep, kind of like a tunnel. There'd be two desks, right, parallel to the long wall, and file cabinets and chairs, and now Victor lying in a pile in there and all. You could figure the office was pretty tight. So now, I'm trying to get away from her, get out the door and get gone. There's people outside the door laughing and cheering and, dancing about and so forth. So I get through the crowd and I'm in the clear. She wheels about on the entire crowd out there. I mean, just dripping poison from her eyes and, goes after them. So now you got people running up and down the hall, laughing and so forth. As everybody scatters, Victor manages to get to his feet and work his way toward the door. Now he's got to get past her to get loose. She reels about once again and goes after him. Luckily, the bubble wrap saved him some of his damage, but he did walk away with some bruising, to say the least. It's one of our favorite thoughts from work. It's something that comes up frequently whenever one of the people there had a 25th or a retirement dinner or whatever. It was just crazy funny. It had all the elements of fun, right? Somebody getting scared, somebody getting a comeuppance, somebody getting a little bit of a wounded manhood. It was just a true joy. Anyhow, given that I'm retired, I can no longer have these experiences. I just have to talk about them. If anybody has a really fun Halloween experience, and by the way, I want to get back to it. Destruction, let's not go there. The video will get taken down, right? YouTube doesn't like that stuff. But any, fun pranks or well, please share them. I'm sure we could all use a laugh these days. This whole plague thing is starting to get old. Anyway, once again, please share your stories. I really, really want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Remember, feet down, heads up, get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.